Okay, what else do we have? We have make multi-switch. What is this? This is essentially a node group. I wouldn't recommend going inside it and changing anything, but it's not very interesting. But what it does is switch the input depending on which shot you have selected. So if it's torus, you'll see here it's connected to torus. This is very, very useful. So especially if I'm just using the composite output. And then I have some render layers. Change that to torus. Cube. Suzanne, and maybe in this one I'm just doing like a depth pass or something. And so it allows you to still use nodes in the way that you would normally use it, but output on a per shot basis. Whereas these ones will, separating your view layers won't let you put nodes, it won't let you use the compositor essentially. It's for exporting it to Nuke or After Effects. So you can see here the name of the active slot changes. Now if I create a new shot, it'll dynamically add or remove from that list. Okay, what else do we have in our box of goodies? There is the collections inspector. So this is really just an alternative UI that I felt was necessary for understanding the relationships between collections and how they're contributing to the final render without having to see all your objects. So the current way would be to activate all of your filters and control your masking and contribution or indirect only render and visibility state or activation state, whatever you call that, in your outliner. But I kind of missed the way that it was laid out in Blender 2.7, and so I felt like there was an oversight that you could have when you get to really complex scenes. So I created this to sort of compensate for that. So here you can actually see, without needing to change your current render layer, the collection states for each render layer or view layer. Clicking on an empty square will make it active. You can change your render visibility, your holdout or masking, and your indirect or contribution. The other thing is if you get many view layers, oh sorry, not view layers, what am I doing? Collections. It'll stack them in a hierarchy that makes sense. So I mean it's kind of similar to the outliner. So if I have base level collections, you'll see you can tell where they're nested, or collections within collections. Cool. Choosing active view layer will use whatever is your active view layer. I thought I might just point out how bloody hot it is here in Melbourne today. Anyway. So the next node I'm going to show you is the output viewer. It shows the output count primarily for more complex paths than the simple one here. So for example, if you have multiple file outputs, maybe if I separate passes, they'll all become available or visible here. At the moment I have nothing rendered. I'll do a quick render. Okay, my amazing animation has just been rendered. If I hit refresh, you can see now in each of these directories it's counting 11 in the main output, which is where your composite ends up. and then in the subfolders of the separate output nodes or base paths, these are the sockets here, and there's 11 in each of those. You can also open it. I haven't tested on Mac, but it should work. And each of these, you can also open it in your image editor. So if I have an image editor open, and I can actually view the first, actually it's the 10th frame, the last frame actually of that image sequence. And not the most interesting, there's my alpha.